Hey, good morning, traders. Good morning, 10 a.m. We actually just had some news drop. EU adopts tariffs on 21 billion euros of US goods and metals dispute, but the market is rallying on something. See what happens. So let's go to, here we go. All right. Good morning, Tej. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Anybody take any trades yet this morning? I am flat, have not taken a single trade yet this morning. Um, just kind of sat down 30 minutes ago. There was a setup here in ES. Let's see if it also happened around NQ. Yep. Price discovery long, pretty much to the tick on NQ. Did not take that. Volatility was very, very high. If you look at this candle, I mean, that's a 240, 250 point range on NQ. That's huge. Huge. So we got to be careful up here, guys. Need to be careful. Natural gas is in value. Oil is in value. Gold is also in price discovery, but we're way up here. Way above IB high, chopping around the 50% extension. Kind of at the upper point of this distribution. So no real trades here. There was a long off copper, just happened about 10 minutes ago. That was nice. We are bumping right into here to weekly VWAP. Silver, trying to catch a bid here about the enterprise discovery. Soybeans, strong. So you do have a price discovery long setting up in soybeans. It's interesting.
Canadian dollar strengthened 0.9% to a 5-day high at around 1.4134 per US dollar.
Not a lot of great confluence between copper and gold here. Copper's catching a decent bid. Kind of missed the long at this point in a lot of this stuff. So now I got to be patient and I got to wait. Anybody has any questions, now's a good time. Not really much in the terms of setups. Welcome to you guys on YouTube. I do stream for the first 30 minutes for free on YouTube. Then that gets shut down, and then I stream exclusively for members in the Discord for the remainder of the morning. So if anybody has any questions, I don't see much in terms of setups. If I do see something, I will announce it. Soybean crashed through that. No long there. Indexes are very volatile, guys. Very volatile. That retracement there on NQ, almost 90 points. 350 ticks. See what we got. Take a look at ES. So Russell is going to be the first one to come back down to point of control here. We drop a volume profile. So the Russell is interesting. Gonna have this value area being built up here. We're about to approach this low volume node here. There is a micro Russell. If I can find it. Hmm. I'm looking for micro Russell in Top Step, and I don't. There it is. Okay. M2K. So that's. So we're kind of at the level now. So now I'm going to watch. See how we do at this level. This is kind of the bottom side of this distribution. See if we get any buyers back in here. Nothing. The other indexes are approaching it though. I kind of like that. Might take a little stab at a scalp here. On the Russell. Does seem weak, but let's see if we can catch a bounce in the indexes here.
Germany's incoming Chancellor Merz says we need a common EU response to the US and China tariff policies.
There we go. Caught a little retracement there. It could have been it though. We'll see. We're at the point of control on the longer term here. You can see would like to see us maybe visit the other side of this value area. So still kind of like this distribution that we're forming here. There it goes. Now this could be a back test. So that will be just a little scalp. What I'm concerned about, I mean, we have a whole lot going on here. We have ES bouncing and Q bouncing long, so those are good longs. Right off of value area high on the VWAP band, so that's a price discovery long that just set up. Now, I wouldn't be looking for a huge move to highs on the session here, guys. This could be a little bit of a fade. We had this big move in terms of a rotation, right? I'm just looking for a small bounce here. Anybody take that?
Germany's incoming Chancellor Merz says, my message to Trump
So this is
Germany will fulfill obligations on defense.
both on NQ and ES. We had the same setup, value, price discovery continuation long off the upper band. I took it, a little scalp on the Russell. Very small. I traded the micros. See what else is happening out there. Copper got a fade. It's at the point of control. Natural gas, oil, both in value. Gold is looking to retest these highs here. Gold is very strong, guys. Gold is looking good. Bitcoin selling off here. Yeah, look at that bounce in Bitcoin. Went all the way down to 70, 74 almost, 44, 74 and a half. Bounced all the way back to 78 and a half. Hell of a move on Bitcoin. Okay, sellers stepping in. That was the bounce, guys. If you didn't take profits on that, it's over. Now we go lower. So now we could be looking for a return to value setup. Short. On Q, however, ES has failed. We went back to point of control. YM still found support there. Russell failed. So best setups are still NQ and the Dow right now. Anybody wants to try those? Might take a little stab at MNQ here. So we still have a long position here. Stop below this wick. There we go. Probably go to like right there. Now my stop is at break even. I'm going to take it here. Up 167. Just very weak buying, and the indexes aren't seeing any buying either. See what happens. We're still in it though. Still a valid trade. Pretty nice. Looks like it's going to hit that target. Anybody take that? That was a good one. Be right back, guys. Let me use the restroom. But that was a great price discovery continuation. Long NQ. I took that setup. Hope, if you guys saw that too, you were able to grab that. That was a good 60-point move, guys. 60-point move on NQ. 250 ticks.
Spain, following Treasury Secretary Besset's earlier comments, says it defends its interests. Indian Trade Minister says India's production-linked incentives for manufacturing are aimed at cutting dependence on China.
Okay. You guys are quiet this morning. I know we got at least a bunch of people watching on YouTube. Guys in the room, Discord. Ah, gotcha. Yeah, no worries. That was a good trade that we just called out on NQ. Nice bounce off the upper VWAP band. Watching the multiple markets, we were able to pretty much find a good entry on that. NQ and Dow had the best setups. NQ is the best out of all of them. That's the one I took. You can see how I can easily switch
Just less than 10 minutes time now.
between the markets.
EIA inventory numbers.
I'll trade the one that has the best setup.
Forecast is a build of 2.6 million on the prior build of 6.165 million. The range sees a build of 4.87 million to a draw of 2.2.
Gold made new highs on the session there.
Comments now from the Indian Trade Minister says in a constant engagement with the US, we will be working with them to take off.
Everything else is very choppy. Very choppy price action, guys. So that went up to this yesterday's extension level.
Studying abroad in the US.
Still might get the Russell is relatively weak. I wouldn't short it here. Entry was already missed. It was up here. This is the return to value setup with a back test confirmation. I missed it, but that was a good one. Confluence of the point of control on the session. We are approaching VWAP here and lower value, which is kind of interesting. So there could be a little trade in here on the Russell.
We have posted out live feed.
Wish I grabbed more size. Only grabbed one. I'm up $25. That was beautiful. Wish I had more size. So that was kind of close to a VWAP bounce here. We had the lower value on the volume profile. So this is the distribution that we formed so far on the session. This is the value area low. And we have VWAP on the session. So we had a nice long opportunity right there. I took it, but with one micro, I grabbed like 30 bucks. Very small trade for me. I was hoping to get a little more downside so I could scale into a bigger position, but didn't happen. Order flow, VWAP, and Ninja should be the same, David. I actually have order flow, VWAP on all of these screens. Let's pinpoint one. Let's take a look at Russell. So this is Trading View. It's starting at the beginning of the session. It's pretty close. I have 755.8 on Trading View. On Ninja Trader, I have 756. It's off by 3 ticks, which is very small. Let's take a look at NQ. I have 175.5. On Ninja Trader, I have 179. It's off by 4 points. Ninja Trader is more reliable. Better data. Trading View uses what's called aggregated data. It's good, but it's not the best. But everybody has Trading View, so that's why I like to stream with it. Hope that helps, David. You can completely rely on Trading View's levels. So, you know, I think that long is over unless we grind up, which we very well might. We're in a distribution here.
Tariffs and non-tariff barriers in negotiations over the US reciprocal tariffs.
on NQ.
Also, agricultural secretary Rollins says Trump team's goal is to avoid Trump team's goal is to avoid need for farming. So US weighing farmer bailout as China retaliation threatens exports.
Gold is just grinding higher. I could see it going to 14, 114. That's this kind of volume note peak point of control in this distribution here. It's also a low volume node here. So that's an interesting level. I'll probably set a little alert. Let me know when we get close to that. Oil, chopping around VWAP here.
Further detail into this here, Rollins has said that the administration is considering plans to offer assistance to farmers amid worries that the China trade war will have a disastrous effect on American agricultural producers. So just to give some context and a bit of color what happened last time in Trump's first administration.
All right, that trade's over, so I'm going to clean this up a little bit.
First term, his administration used the Commodity Credit Corporation to offer $28 billion to bail out its farmers. The government-owned and operated entity was created to boost farm income and prices.
U.S. government's talking about an agricultural bailout for U.S. farmers because of the disastrous effect these Chinese tariffs are going to have on all the exports they send to China, the food.
Amazon cancels some.
I mean, that's good news for corn and soybean, but it's really
risk factor in annual report.
Not moving.
Cancelled orders affect multiple products and vendors.
It's corn. Corn has got quite the uptrend here.
1 minute to go now to the crude oil inventory data.
Morning, Andrew. Welcome to the chop we've been in for the last half hour. We caught one good trade. At least I caught one good trade on NQ. Price discovery long. Upper band. I'm up $200. My 5 accounts here. So these 4 are at about $6,500 in profit. This one's at 46.
10 seconds.
Sounds like there's some news dropping. We got crude oil inventories, guys. Crude oil. Let's watch what happens with crude.
Build 2.553 million. Build of 2.553 million. That's compared to the expected build of 2.6 million. Gasoline inventories, draw of 1.6 million, 1.6 million of a draw compared to the expected draw of 1.416 million. Distillate inventories, a draw of 3.544 million, a draw of 3.544 million compared to the expected build of 0.1 million. Crude Cushing inventories, build of 0.681 million, a build of 0.681 million.
Not all that exciting.
Treasury imposes sanctions on
Nice.
Treasury imposes sanctions
on NQ.
Iran's nuclear.
Shorted a failed range breakout back to VWAP. Was that pre-market?
US sanctions 5 entities for Iran nuclear program support.
So I'm assuming not the session VWAP, open VWAP. Because we haven't been to VWAP. VWAP band? Upper band, got it. Yeah, no worries. I screw up the terms all the time too. I'm like price discovery, value area. I mean, it can be a jumble sometimes. Should try it when you're trying to record videos. Very choppy. I mean, shorts are getting paid every time we touch this top of this distribution.
Chris is just talking about the trade relations here. Nothing of significance there. Just talking about Kenya.
We break out of this. It's tempting to short, I'll tell you what. We can expect the market to keep doing what it's doing rather than break out. A lot of people are going to be chasing this long. I'm going to take a little scalp. Little baby scalps. Quick 90 bucks. It's just testing the upper end of this distribution here, guys. Right here. Now I won't take that again. That was it. So very clear, very clean distribution, right? So 70% of our trading has taken place here. That's why we're getting this chop, right? So this is our value area currently. We can expect price to stay in here. A lot of people are chasing this. They're chasing breakouts in value, right? And that's why people get trapped, and that's why people buy the top and short the bottom. They don't see what's happening here. They're not focusing on the auction. Right now, we're in value on NQ, all right? Eventually, if we get some acceptance to the upside, that's when you buy. But until then, you know, we're just fading value area extremes. So there will be a break out of this sooner or later. But until there's acceptance, so I don't just buy the top of a distribution. I got to see some clear acceptance. Somebody had a good question on this earlier. What do I mean by acceptance? You can define acceptance in two ways. They're both valid: time or distance. right? So we break out, but we don't travel very far, but we start spending time up here. Okay. 20 minutes, half hour, 45 minutes. That's time above this distribution. The other would be distance. We get a clean break pretty far out of here. Then we look for the pullback. Those are the two ways to trade it. So again, people that are, there's so many traders right now that are buying this, looking for the long, and they might get it, and we might break out here. But the data right now is telling me that we're in a distribution and there's big institutions and players, they're getting in and out here. All right, that's why it's so choppy. That's why it's kind of, there's no direction. All this volume, this is not retail. This is the big boys. They're playing a different game than we are. We just tag along for fun. So there's that fade, value area extreme fade. I caught a little scalp on it, nothing crazy. And that's also, a relatively easy trade to manage, because if it keeps going, you got to cut it. That's not a trade you want to hold on, because once its due starts to show acceptance, it's probably going to keep going. So you got to let it go. So we're at point of control of this distribution. If we can't get past point of control, we can expect to go back to the upper side of value. If we get past point of control, we could expect to go to the other side of value. These are the principles, auction market theory principles. So I'm up almost 300 in these 5 accounts. I do have a lot to do today, guys. I have this great celebration I'm going to later. I'm not trying to push the envelope today. I'll be happy with a $500 winning day across these accounts. So I'm already more than halfway there. Not looking to bank today. I'm looking to have a good day and go to my little thing later and enjoy myself. Absolutely, Andrew. $500 a day is well over 6 figures. I was saying yesterday, I did the math on this. Just if you make $1,000 a day trading, that puts you in the top 5% of earners in the United States of America. It puts you in the top 1% of earners in the world. So we got to keep perspective, guys. It's easy to get caught up in the millionaire, billionaire mindset, but I'm an average person who's gotten pretty decent at trading. I can live my life as a successful. I don't need to be a gazillionaire. There's more to life. Tell you what, I bet most streamers aren't going to tell you that. These guys that are like 25, they're all about Lambos and wonder how many of them actually buy that Lambo. What a terrible decision. Whether they're renting it or whatever. I know some of them actually do. They probably lease it. It's probably what really happens. A couple $1,000s a month.
Chris says it's not clear yet whether farmer bailout is necessary. Again, it's not clear yet whether farmer bailout is necessary.
Now, I'm not hating on Lambos. I think they're incredible cars, but my financial prudence keeps me away. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, so we can expect to go to the other side of value, right? We're at upper band here still. So this is a very tight range considering how much volatility we've had lately. So in theory, yes, Dinesh, but we do have some barriers here. We have upper band and IB mid right there. So this is a level that's in the way of the other band.
Delta has told Airbus it won't pay tariffs on new aircraft.
We'll see what happens at this area. Let's drop the volume profile again. I'm not crazy about trades here, Dinesh, at this point. I've already traded it a couple of times. The longer it does this, it's tempting because you could keep going back to the well, right? And keep taking trades. And that works until you get caught off sides and you give back all those scalps. So let's pull up the core setup guide here. So the principles. Not all trades are equal. The highest quality setups emerge near fresh contextual shifts. This is where the best opportunities lie. So that principle is based on, the first time it sets up is the best trade, right? So like the best fade value area extreme was here. All right, doing it again here immediately lowers the probability. Every time I take the same trade, it's a lower quality trade. That doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means now I'm messing with probabilities. The best opportunities and the best setups are a fresh contextual shift. The first time I take that setup. That doesn't mean I won't take the second setup. I will sometimes, but I'm messing with probabilities at that point. And we can expect the market to keep doing what it's doing. I don't buy breakouts before they happen, anticipating a breakout. If I'm thinking the market's to go long, I don't want to get in at the value area high. If I'm thinking I want to go long, I want to get down here. I can manage my risk better and I'm positioned for a breakout should it happen. If you're buying up here, which a lot of people do, very tough to manage risk, and 60-70% of the times it's going to reject on you. Yep. I wonder how many people bought the top in February as we just barely tested all-time highs. Yep. I did do a video on that recently. If I am looking for a longer term trade, I'm looking to get in the bottom of a distribution. Easier to manage risk. I know when I'm wrong. And you have a lot of cushion to let it ride if and when it breaks. So you could see, Dinesh, we're still at the IB mid and upper band holding strong. And this is also the point of control. This is a terrible place for a trade because if it's at the point of control. You could take this long if we break above point of control and we show some strength to the upside. I would not trade this short, even though you could probably catch a little scalp, but we're in such a small range here. Look at this. 30 points if you catch the whole move. I mean, this is the smallest 5-minute candle probably on NQ in last 2 weeks. Corn is tanking, so is soybeans. Yeah. I think that's the better trade. And you're saying you'd want to short to break that mid and VWAP band and then retest. So there might be a little long here.
Keystone Pipeline owner issues force majeure after oil spill.
Got a little scalp there. A little strength off that point of control to the upside. Easy spot to manage risk. Playing with small size here, guys. A couple of little micros, little scalps, adding up my base hits. And that's why I didn't hold it, right? Because now we're all the way back to where we were. Now we might get that break. Yeah.
Delta Air CEO says that the company has been
All right. I might go short here.
work through and see what happens.
$4.21, 2 micros. So I'm just trading this distribution, guys. Trading the value area. Right here. This is all we have to work with right now. We're in value. Could catch a good big move there, but if we get the back test, I'll retry it. Because we're at value area low. So we're at value area low, right? I took profits, scaled right into here. Bottom of the distribution. I'm not expecting us, just like I'm not buying up here. I'm not expecting, I mean, it could very well break and we go lower, but this is a natural area that we're going to run into some blockage. There are going to be buyers here. I want to cover my short with the buyers. I don't want to wait for the buyers to bring it all the way back up to my price point. I'm going to get some water, guys. I'll be right back. Oh, let me check the YouTube real quick. Thanks for your answer. I'm still showing differently and comparing my NQ. Not sure why. My VWAP right now is 7154 upper band. 752. David, sorry, I don't check the YouTube as often as I check the Discord. My point of control. Okay, good. Dale figured out his with the volume profile. David, if you want to post again. Now, so, we're starting to break out of this distribution a little bit. This is where the big trade can lie. Let's scale into a little short here. Boom. So acceptance, that's distance. You can expect a revisit to VWAP at this point, most likely, depending on what's going on in the other markets. We're at VWAP pretty much on ES. I wouldn't take the VWAP bounce here, but it's also IB low. So that's an interesting area on ES. No. Johnny's asking, before I go short, would you wait until price breaks the monthly value area low? On NQ, I'm assuming you're talking about. Yeah, we broke it. And that was the same area as this value area low. So good eye. Yep. I wasn't paying attention down here. I was looking at us coming out of this distribution that I've been scalping all morning. And once we started to break out of that and showing acceptance by distance, I hopped in short there again. And I shorted control to lower value. Then we started to break out. I took another short scalp, level to level. But yeah, great eye. That makes it an even better setup. Okay, everybody on YouTube, thanks for joining. I'm going to keep streaming over in the Discord. You can always join us there. I do offer a free trial on that for a week if you want to try and grab the entire thing. All right, 7581 on NQ. That's high. 170. Yeah, those are very different numbers. What data are you using for NinjaTrader? That's something that you could probably look at. Yeah, thanks guys for joining on YouTube. Happy to do that first. I lasted a little longer today, of course. Hope you guys grab some of those trades. We got a couple of good ones. I'll be streaming in the Discord for the rest of you guys. Thank you, YouTubers.